We're live.
All right. And by the way, I was correct as we get started here. That's the one that canceled.
Okay.
Okay. So that one's deleted. I didn't pull that in my files. I guess you did yours. Okay. Want to get that covered. Good evening, everyone. We are the First Spiritualist Church of Alabama. Catherine, I wish you get your pretty face on there. You have a gorgeous face. There you go. Look at that lovely lady. See, I just want to squeeze those cheeks. Can I get fresh on this show? Um, so what are we doing? Did you find any kind of inspirational thing or anything there to share with us?
Ah, I have not yet.
Okay, or while she's going to give us a reading here in a minute, I want to go over a couple of things here. First of all, yes, we believe in the continuity of life. I've had a certain life-changing experiences that's happened to me and I would say the most recent one is the one that really woke me up. For a long time, I guess I was too much of a skeptic, and I was pretty much in denial of the possibility of certain things. And unfortunately, I was tainted. And I want to make this very clear. I was very tainted because of my studies, my foundation and beliefs was all in based on the Bible and Christianity. And even though I would say these words, I would say, well, I know what the Bible says, but I'm not saying that the Bible is correct. And the Bible has a lot of questionable things in it. If you go through it, there's no continuity in the Bible. It's a very confusing book. That's why very few people even read the darn thing. They just say, I believe, and they kind of roll with it. Well, we are more, what's important to us is more than just saying it's not a belief, okay? Because we rely on science, we rely on evidence, okay? It's very important to us. And even in the Bible stories, it's interesting to note that there was evidence provided to those people. If you take any of those stories as true, so we have no creed, we have principles. Show your pretty face there, woman. We believe in an infinite intelligence. Okay, that infinite intelligence, some people would call God. Our views are a little bit different. We don't quite look that way. A belief is the absence of knowledge. Knowledge is our savior. That's why you go to a trained professional doctor when you get sick. That's why you go to a trained, educated professional to repair your car. That's why you look for a trained professional to do your carpentry work, to build your fence, to do your plumbing work, because knowledge is your savior. So, how even more so important it is in your religion to be based on knowledge instead of just a belief. I've always said that faith, if your belief system relies on faith, then you can't prove your belief. So ours is more than just on the level of a belief or on faith. We look for evidence. Unfortunately, in what we're looking at when we deal with things like the afterlife, we deal with spirit. There's things that we've been involved in that we're not so much involved in anymore because throughout history, we don't believe, we don't feel that we need these tools to communicate with spirit. I have shared, and Catherine has heard this story ad nauseum. I'm sure she's sick of hearing it. The story of this ring, profound story. I think you, Catherine, were you aware when I lost this ring?
I was.
Okay, and it's been years ago.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah. So going back through that, and then when I found it, well, it found me. Let's rephrase that. And then it was just on Linda's birthday. It was kind of like a token gift back from her saying, "It's okay, Kelsey. I'm not upset because you were a gruff old man. You took care of me. You did what you could do. I understand I wasn't the most pleasant person. I got that feeling all the way through that here's the ring. I know you were concerned about the ring, and I want you to have it back." I just feel like that. Okay, get your face on the camera, please, dear. All right. You got a gorgeous face. Why you want to hide it like that? Like it was some shrimp.
Because my computer is in my lap, and every time I adjust, it moves.
All right. So that there is where we are. Yes, we look for evidence. Knowledge is important to us. It's not just a matter of saying glory, hallelujah, and all this stuff. Um, there is evidence. I've been provided evidence, and so we seek that evidence. And it is once you start opening your mind up to evidence and not be trapped into the creeds and doctrines of traditional religions, then you can begin to see. Because traditionally, religions don't want you to ask questions. If you start asking questions, you know how many Christians we talk to that's never read the book? I believe your mother's going to this healing prayer thing, and the guy leading that admitted to you that he's never even read the book.
Bingo.
So that's not the way we roll. We do believe in the continuity of life. We don't believe that this is the end all of our existence. We believe that that the only hell there is the hell that we create now, and the heaven we create now. So there we go, folks. That is in brevity where we are, and I've got several on our YouTube channel and also on our page. We have our banner we can put for our website here, right here. There we go. So on our website as well as on our YouTube page, and we also have a Facebook. Don't we have a Facebook page too? We got a Facebook page. You must be muted. You're muted.
First Spiritualist Church of Alabama.
Okay. So that covers a lot of things as to who we are, what we do, where we are in this whole religious, spiritual thing, and why knowledge is very important to us. And I'm going to also share this on my Facebook page as well. And so, did you find anything of any kind of inspirational thing, or you want me to carry on for a moment?
I've got a beautiful inspirational quote.
Okay.
I'm gonna get the guy's name wrong. Aristotle. Okay, I got it right.
Yeah, you
What is
can't
a
get that.
friend? What is a friend? A single soul dwelling in two bodies.
A single soul dwelling in two bodies. That kind of explains the relationship, I think, for most of part, Catherine and I have together.
Yep.
Um, in dying, and I put this book together in 2020. Wedding slowed down. Linda was on progressing very rapidly toward her end of life, transitioning. And I've been through. You're looking at a man here who has lost everybody in his life. All my relationships, which there are a few of right now, are new. Catherine's relationship with me, and maybe a little over a decade. And I just, I throughout my life, I've had great loss. At one time, after I'd lost the last of my biological family, I got rid of everything and I moved on a houseboat up in the Hiawassee River up in Tennessee. Again, after losing all my family at that point, I lost again. A tornado came through and sank my boat, and I lost everything. Um, so I know loss. We grieve. Grieving is a healthy thing. There can be unhealthy forms of grief. And all these things are covered in this book. Okay. And then that's blurry. Is that my eyes? Oh, there we go. Got to get it right. So I'm putting together. We're going to start. This is covered on our website as well. I don't know if you're familiar with the Wind phone or not. whether you believe that you are actually communicating or getting messages from spirit or from a lost loved one or whatever, there are certain processes that we can go through for comfort and to get through grief and to deal with our losses. And a gentleman in Japan years ago started what is known as the phone of the wind, this way it's properly translated in English. It's trimmed down to just say wind phone. And so we're setting that up. There's a couple of them in Tennessee already there. And at
I
the
kind of
location,
like I
go
kind
ahead.
of like the phone of the wind.
Yeah, I bought two phones, by the way, for that
Oh,
purpose. I'm
good.
just looking for the right setup I want to do with it. Um, I want it to be attractive. I want it to be kind of like a meditation area, grotto, or whatever. Um, so, as you know, where I'm going to do the first one here,
Hmm.
it's going to have, I'm also going to have copies of my book. I'm also going to have a little cooler because I got electricity out there that'll have water. And let me get a bottle of water so I can talk about that for a second. And I want you to start getting yourself in your zen, in your moment, to communicate with spirit as soon as we get through talking here. To see if anyone comes through, if anybody's watching here, and to see if they can connect with anybody that's trying to reach out to them tonight. This is Tuesday night,
It is Tuesday night.
okay? And I think we did this last Tuesday night.
We did.
So we're back on our Tuesday night thing, except instead of doing it at 7, we're doing it at 9, a little bit later. So I'm going to be right back, share something with these folks. I'll be just 1 second.
Well, let's read some more spiritual inspiration quotes. If I can get my phone to cooperate with me. You've got to open your mind and your heart. When you
Okay.
accept that
Oh, go
there
ahead.
are
It's your,
certain when you accept that there are certain truths in your life that you can't change, it allows you to embrace your new reality and move forward. Amy Purdy.
water is the essence of life. In Christianity, they will either sprinkle you with water or baptize you in water. It's demonstrating kind of a rebirth. Your body's made up two-thirds, roughly, of water. If you went without food, you could last for a lot longer without food than you can without water. You would dehydrate and die pretty quickly if you went without water. I used to be quite a drinker of water. I used to drink a lot of water, more than I drank anything else. Loved water. Somewhere in the late 70s, 80s, it seemed like the water that was available had lost it just wasn't good anymore. Last year, I ran across in Newmarket, Tennessee, what is known as Houston's mineral water. And you learn about this on our website. It's very healthy. And just so you know, I'm 68 years old. I've never been in the hospital. I've had very few little hiccups in my life health wise. And I try to avoid any prescription drugs. Of course, there's some things that some people have, they have no choice. But I advocate, of course, doing everything we can to get a quality of life. To me, it's more about quality than it is quantity. So I think we're going to get ready here when Catherine comes back on, and we're gonna let her go with what she does for us. And her name is Catherine Marie. You have within you right now everything you need to deal with whatever the world can throw at you. And Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "When it is the darkest, that's when you can see the stars." In the daytime, you can't see the stars because the sunlight is so bright. When it gets dark, you can see the stars. So I don't know, Catherine, are you ready? You're not on screen. So I'm going to turn this over to Miss Catherine Marie. And this is where you guys pay attention. And if there's anything or anybody that's coming in that rings a bell with you to someone that you've lost, then um, let us know. Hopefully, something here will help you. And hopefully, you will hear from someone as they reach out to let you know that there is a continuity of life and that you're not alone. Robert Schuller wrote, "Tough times never last, but tough people do." And so, what we're involved in here is finding a way to give people something not just to believe in, but to know. And everything we do here is more about a knowing instead of just a belief or just a faith. There is a gentleman who had, well, let's see, Raymond Moody, who lives not far from us. Back in the 70s, coined the term near death experience. It's commonly referred to as NDE. And he started, of course, his background was in mythology and whatnot, psychiatry, but he came along and he started collecting all these stories of these people that had been clinically dead and they had these NDEs, what he called near death experiences, where he began to believe that there had to be some continuity of life. And the interesting thing about Mr. Moody is his beliefs were nowhere grounded in a religion. His understanding, the knowledge he gained as far as afterlife, or the continuity of life, what we like to call it, is interestingly not based on a belief in a God or a belief in Christianity or anything like that. Um, so, following in fact, his best selling book was 1975. It's called Life After Life. And he's accumulated all these stories. And that's what brought him to the point of saying, I can't argue anymore. I now have the knowledge to know about this continuity of life. That's kind of where we are with this too. Now it's like, well, you can't deny it. I mean, now at this point, there's another gentleman that I'd like to bring attention to who is Beth, author, who had his own experience more than once. He has had four, he says, NDEs that changed his tune. And again, he's not promoting a belief in a God or anything like that. Not that I've seen anyway. Maybe he has. I have on the surface. He doesn't sound like he's promoting a belief system. But Daniel Brinkley, he's a best known New York Times author, a bestsellers list. And let's see, this is Saved by the Light is based on his story. Um, and it just goes on and on and on. Some of the stories are very credible and some are not. On his and on Raymond Moody's, when they're not using their stories to promote a belief system, I find them more credible than when they're using their story to promote a belief system, to promote a something like that. So anyway, I think that Catherine is getting ready, and I'm going to sit quietly unless something comes to me in the process, and I'll try not to interfere with her. Be patient with her because sometimes it takes a moment, and so maybe be quiet for a second. And don't forget to go to our website, fscofal.org. And Catherine, it is now on you.
Let me make sure I have my microphone on. Wow. Seeing a gentleman, late 30s, early 40s. He was shot. This hasn't been that long ago. He's okay. Didn't mean to go early. I'm getting run. Ron. Says he's okay, he's okay, he's okay. I keep seeing a baseball bat with this. Almost like a swinging of a baseball bat. Chest is bothering me. Let the sadness go. Hey, Kelsey, are you still there?
Still here?
Yeah, that one was powerful.
Okay, what was it?
The guy's name is Ron. He was shot.
So as these things come through, it's not always easy to determine any way of knowing exactly where on the planet this happened. Wherever you happen to be from, if you know of a Ron, if that touches you in any way, let it be known. Um, I don't know if we have anybody paying attention or listening right now, but maybe someone will be listening later. The
It was a recent thing. They've not been gone very long. They're still. Um, you were going to show that video of that guy
what video?
that you sent me earlier about what he says about death.
I don't. I can't on here. I don't have it on the computer.
Hold on, I'll send it to you. I think I can do it. Let's see.
Can.
I got
All
to
right.
remember how to do this.
Okay, you go. First of all, get it opened up on the screen. Make sure you hit pause before you share it, and then you go
Okay.
down to present. The bottom of your screen on StreamYard.
Okay.
See present,
Mm-hmm.
and then share screen, and then don't start it. Okay, share screen. Then it'll say where do you want Chrome tab, or I guess you're on Chrome, and
I got it.
there you go.
Excuse me. Make
That's the
sure I
one
turn
guy
the
I was.
volume up.
Yeah, that's the one guy I was referring to. Yeah.
All right.
Died.
Well, I've been clinically dead 3 times, but I've had 4 experiences, what you would call near death experiences.
And what did you learn through these near death experiences?
That to even conceive that you're going to die is an insane thought. No one dies, it will never happen. And after being a hospice volunteer for more than 45 years and being with more than 2,000 people going from this world to the next, I can tell you conclusively that you will never die. And when that comes into your thought pattern as a place of value, then you start to really look at who you are and what greatness you can achieve in your life when you are going to be you forever. Because think of how long forever just got if you're never going to die.
How sure are you of what you just said?
I'll say it again. After being dead more than 4 times or struck by lightning and dead for 28 minutes, open heart surgery, brain surgery, open heart surgery. Those are near death experiences except for the lightning strike. And then after open heart surgery, I had to be resuscitated 3 times. That's dead. No pulse, no respiration, no EKG. And after dying with thousands of people and studying death for now more than 45 years, Unequivocally, without question, you will never die. And why? You are a great, powerful, and mighty spiritual being with dignity, direction, and purpose. So the only thing that can ever possibly go wrong in your life is you let something affect your dignity, which skews your direction and your purpose. And that's where every one of you are who thinks you're going to die. So get over it.
So what happens? So what happens? You're struck by lightning, you die. You have cancer, you die. Whatever happens, you die. Tell us what happens immediately after that moment.
Okay? Once again, nobody dies. What happens is your spiritual ethereal self releases from the meat sack,
The body.
the body, and then you enter a level of consciousness like peeling the onion, taking away those layers and letting go. And then you have relief, no pain. Remember, being struck by lightning, I was paralyzed, and the fire that came through the room burnt my eyes. I couldn't see. I lifted out of my paralyzed, on fire, burning body. I had no pain. I could see. I could look what's around me, acclimating, and then down a tunnel to a place of bright, brilliant, beautiful light with a silvery, shimmery essence to it that I can only describe using the word sensual. In the ethereal spiritual world, the sensual nature of you is what you permeate and feel. Your connection to the divine and the divine's connection to you. And then you have the single most important point. You have the panoramic life of you, the near death experience. Everyone has a life review, book of judgment, the hall of records, all of this. This exists. You see your entire life pass before you in a 360-degree panorama. Watch yourself from a second person point of view as though you were your own best friend. So you see how silly you are. And there's just a best friend, so you're not being judged. Then you literally become every person that you've ever encountered. And you feel the direct results between you and that person. You become them. So what's the greatest takeaway of that system? Is paying attention to why you're doing it. Because if you pay attention to the reason for why the action you're taking, it's never what you're doing, it's why you're doing it that matters. What I have learned is to set in motion and look at the reasons why I do things and make sure I'm not petty, make sure I'm not selfish, and make sure the reason I do it is for the betterment of all of us instead of being a bully, jackass, brute, tough guy. Always be smart, be loving, and be appreciative. And keep your dignity intact because if you think you're going to die, then somebody can scare you with the lack of knowledge you have of what's next. You cannot scare me.
So when you look at why you do things or why you have done things,
Mhm.
can you give us another example that people can relate to, that they can apply in their daily life?
The most important thing about looking at how do you apply the panoramic life of you to your daily life, think of this. The measurement of your existence, and I hope some of you have a religious tone. I don't know how to phrase this other than this. That when you look at the value of your life, 360 degrees, second person point of view, and then being every person that you've ever encountered, you're going to know the reason why you did what you did because you're them. You could have just hurt their feelings because you were mad. Well, you're going to feel that anger. You're going to feel that hurt. Or you could have said something to them that made them angry and mad, but it was you trying to help them and to care about them and to appreciate them. Well, when you feel them, you're going to feel that place of where you came from and how they felt. Always remember, it's never what, it's why. So why I'm doing these videos is the guy who's doing this, I love him and appreciate him because he's a great warrior and a great person. And I hope that every one of you that listens to this, remember, I love you and I appreciate you because I love and appreciate me.
Are we all the same? Are we all one? Are we all God?
So a lot of times people say, are we all one? Are we all the same? Are we all God? Well, what's the most important thing to remember about that? is we in this particular form, this particular dimension, this third dimensional reality, we are the golden ones. Everybody wants to be us. So all the aliens, extraterrestrials, interdimensional, Satan worshipers, all that, they all want to be us. They're all jealous and envy of us because we are the golden divine ones. Great, powerful, and mighty. Take time to look those three words up in the dictionary and apply them to who you truly are, a spiritual being with dignity, direction, and purpose. And remember, if you love and appreciate you because who you are, and I just said that, then the nature of being loved and appreciated is an automatic reflection of what I'm telling you to be the truth.
Any last words? You're not afraid of dying, are you?
Well, any last words? Am I afraid of dying? How could I be afraid of something that never happens? It will never happen. Never. Get over the fear complex. Get over it. It won't work once you take your last breath. And all that stuff you think's going to happen, pay attention to the near death experience. Don't believe everything you hear people say. And remember, people are describing them in their own unique ways. But take from it the fact that they have reached past the boundary of what we call the end and reached into what we truly know is the journey back home. We come from there here, and we go home when we finish this job. And we will do a series of videos on what the job is and what the reason for this job is and how do you get the best out of it.
Danny and Brinkley, how do people find out more about you and your work?
Go to lightstreamers.com, Mr. Mebit, and welcome to the family. And come on down.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too, man.
So, Danian.
Okay, a couple of key points out of that I want to make reference to is something I've said all along. The problem with mainstream religion and the view that they promote with this reward punishment system is it takes away from good motivation. Your actions become narcissistic because you're not doing it because you're a good person. You're not doing it because you're motivated to do good from a heart way. You're doing it because you're looking for a reward and you're trying to keep from being punished. And I'll use a prime example that we see every day on our roadways. I've witnessed it today several times. The Alabama State Police were out in force on the freeway today, pulling people over right and left. You'll go along and people will be going 80, 90 miles an hour, speeding down the road. They will see right a mile or so ahead of them, they'll see a police. And they will slow down to 5, 10 miles under the speed limit for that short distance. They're not heart motivated to do the right thing. They're not concerned about safety. They're only concerned about getting a ticket. They don't want to be punished because once they get beyond the cop, once they get beyond the possibility of getting that ticket, they're back up to 80, 90 miles an hour. I've seen horrific accidents. Dead body laying by the side of the road. And people will slow down, they'll gawk, and as soon as that gets out of sight, they're flooring it and driving like idiots again. It goes back again, and what he was making a point is you do question, why do I do the things I do? And that's a very valid question. We create our own hell and our own heaven. And where we differentiate ourselves in a huge way is we're not a faith-based religion. We don't have a belief. We have knowledge, and we seek knowledge, and we grow with the knowledge that we gain. That's why this ring was a very profound experience, because I grew from that experience. It's something that was tangible. It was something that was realistic, and it wasn't just a feeling. It wasn't just an emotion. So it was a powerful action that took place. So you're motivated in the right way. And some people go to church, well, I want to become a better person. It's really easy to become a better person. When you think about it, it's very easy to become because to become a better person, you just have to change what motivates you. You have to examine yourself and say, why do I do, just like this gentleman said, why do I do what I do? What is my motivation? Is it simply because I saw the cop car and didn't want to get a ticket? Or is it because there was a promise of a reward that if I do something? So if your motivation is along the reward punishment system, this is why Christianity fails. And it's proven. I mean, look at the pedophiles that come out of the Christian church. Look, if the whole motivation is not proper, or that the church would be a better place, but church is just no different than anywhere else in society because there's no change of heart. The motivation has not changed. So if you know that there's a continuity of life and you're at peace with life, knowing that this existence is a temporal state, is temporary, and that life goes on, it's a growing and learning. Okay. So I watched a little TikTok popped up on my timeline earlier this evening, and a guy that was just possibly diagnosed with some form of cancer, prostate cancer or something, and he was waiting for tests to come in. He's really all bothered and troubled and, that sort of thing. And I'm watching as he's going through this, and I think, well, you look like you're doing fine today. You don't seem to be suffering. You're in a vehicle, so clearly you're not disabled. I don't know if you have any discomfort. You didn't express yourself in the words of being discomfort. We're all going to die. That is an absolute. This state we're in this physical realm, is going to end for you and I one day. It has for everybody. You're not going to escape that fact. If you wrap your arms around that and you understand that things are temporary, just like I read what's in my book here, a little quote. Tough times end, but tough people don't. It's not hard to be tough. It just is it's a mindset of realizing where we fit in this whole picture, and it's having the right motivation to do good things. We've got another little website that we put up. It's called Bad People Doing Good Things. We're not doing it for a reward. We're not doing it because we don't want to burn in hell. We're not doing what we do because we think we're going to get a reward and walk the golden streets and the pearly gates up in heaven. That's not our motivation. Your entire outcome throughout eternity, being at peace, is going to be based upon what motivates you in life. And that was a big thing that this gentleman just shared. I see that you're not connecting with spirit too well tonight. Is that the problem, Catherine? Or that one jolted you so bad that it's difficult for you? Your mic is not on.
A bunch of them are trying to come in. I'm sorry.
Okay,
They're
do
all
you
trying
want
to come in at once.
that's fine. Do you want to continue?
Um,
You ready or
yeah.
not?
Uh,
Okay.
go ahead and
Excuse me.
talk so I can get back in my zone, and I'll just put my hand up like
You talk
this.
for 1 second.
I had a coughing fit earlier, and he's got a sneezing
Okay.
fit.
All right. Okay, while she's getting her zone together here, you're talking about motivation. We're talking about the continuity of life and whatnot. It's kind of like Buddha, and that belief system, that system of life. And I've listened and studied a lot of that as well because in my spiritual journey, I delved into all kind of religious spiritual systems to try to find as much knowledge, not just cultural faith and belief, but what knowledge I could find to to assist me in my spiritual growth. Each step in progression, it's not that we're looking for a reward, because we are all divine in that sense. We are all on this level of creating our own heaven or hell. It's not a reward. Every action has a consequence, but there's not some outside force out here. There's not some great deity, as it were, that is sitting there with a bar of gold in one hand and a whip in the other. If you do this, you'll get the gold. If you do that, you'll get the whip. Even though there is a consequence to our actions, it's just the natural law of nature, which is the law of God, that we must live according to, because we all are under that universal state from this infinite intelligence, which is this natural state that we are all in. Do we understand all about it? Of course not. But no one, and you got to understand, to bring peace, the, this is how horrendous some of these belief systems are. Christianity, one of the largest forms of belief systems on this planet, with billions of followers. You read the book and the teachings of this God. When someone is trying to talk to me about Christianity, which I was born and raised under, and which I studied my life, it was my belief system, as it were. That's a wrathful God. That is it's like, what kind of God can you this little child is born out of the womb, a new life. It comes out of the womb, and you're taking pictures. Oh, look at this angel. Look at this precious little angel. And as soon as you can, you're taking this precious little angel, this perfect little child, this precious little angel. And then you immediately say, someone had to die for you because you're a sinner. You're a wretch. You've got to be dunked in water, washed clean. You got to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and you got to ritualistically and symbolically eat the flesh and the blood of this sacrificial person. That's horrendous. That you're in a situation. All right, you ready?
I have a Ken. He keeps saying 03. He likes to write. What are the circles? Bicycle. It's just an over and over. Show me the bike. Keep seeing books. Lots of handwriting. Okay, Kelsey. Wow, that one was very interesting. I do get tired. It wears me out, especially when there's like bam, 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 showing you things, and you got 50 different things showing you things and yelling at you. You got to say, like, oh, hold up, wait a minute, take turns. All right, Kelsey, that was a very good one.
Okay, so that's all you got.
That's all I've got tonight. It's worn me out.
Okay, so I want to share something here now for a little bit and give us both a break. I had a little silence issue to deal with there, and let's go. Um, and this, where are we? Woohoo! Come on, where are we? Right with me for a moment here, folks. I thought it was there, and now I can't find it. Dang it! Oh, I need to close it out. Patience, my friends, patience. I just want to share something here, and for some reason, I have lost it. I have totally freaking lost it. Uh, where, oh, where, oh, where? There we go. All right, let's do this. Are we ready?
My name is
I'm
Bill.
ready.
I'm a former philosophy professor and medical doctor, forensic psychiatrist. And since 1962, I have been studying cases of people who almost died and returned and had what we today call near death experiences. I think the most important thing I've learned in my studies is that whatever we happen to be chasing in life, whether knowledge or power or fame or whatever, that the most important thing we can do while we're alive is to learn how to love. And I've also learned that there's nothing to fear in death. Really, it's a transition into some other world. And I've also learned that these experiences seem the same all over the world, wherever I've traveled. I hear the same things from people. I've also learned that at the point of death, we get to engage in a fascinating holographic panoramic review during which we review all the things we've ever done while we're alive from the point of view of those with whom we've interacted. People say that with the review of their life, they often review their lives in the company of a being of light and of complete love and compassion, who sees everything you've ever done in this panorama of your life and yet still loves you. People I know who've returned from death say that it was the most wonderful experiences of their life. And I would say to people, there's nothing to fear in death, that the fearful things are here in this life. I was not raised in a religious environment when I was a little kid, and the idea of an afterlife just never occurred to me. I always assumed that when you die, it's the end. And so it's been a long process for me to come to terms with the fact, as I gather, that when we die, we do go into this other state of existence. So now I'm confident, actually, that what we call death is a transition into another world.
All right. So back out of there now. Catherine, you still with me? All right. I think Catherine's worn out or not. Close that out. Don't need that background noise. The entire purpose of this, and we want to hopefully next week she'll feel a little bit better and get a little bit more rambunctious with our live streams. Make sure
Yeah,
you join us. Go ahead.
I didn't get to eat my dinner tonight. I wasn't
Okay.
hungry when I fixed it, so
So join us. Go to www.fscofal.org and join us on Facebook. That's the same listing on Facebook. How we got that listed on Facebook?
it is First Spiritualist Church of Alabama.
Okay, and then on YouTube. And
YouTube. y- Yes, YouTube is First Spiritualist Church of Alabama.
okay, so join us in those places, and we will be live streaming um, continually and getting a little bit more polished in what we do here. So we've spent the first 30 minutes with a little discussion of some topic related to what we do, and then we'll spend a good 30 minutes or so with mediumship. Uh, Getting messages from spirit is the bottom line. Is there anything else that you would like to share this evening?
Um, Not that I'm aware of right now.
Part of this to do, clearly, we're dealing with spirit, we're dealing with the loss of loved ones. And I want to share because part of this is dealing with grief and loss. Um, and I want to share what's in my book. There are a list of things that might happen if you don't allow yourself the grieving process. And I just want to share these real quick. It's a very short list, but they're very important. And you've got to understand that grieving is a natural process that is healthy for us. So if you don't allow yourself to grieve, it can lead to depression. It can develop, and your mind will remain in a very low state. Some who deny themselves the grieving process might become suicidal and think about ending it all. There might be intense periods of isolation in order to avoid things that remind you of your loss. I go through that myself, different triggers. Some turn to substance abuse or other dangerous coping strategies uh, in an attempt to cope. Um, you could become mentally and emotionally stuck at the moment that the loss occurred, not being able to move on. And your attempt to just move on may lead you to staying in one place. So the grieving process is a dealing with the loss, and it is the acceptance of your loss. And the wonderful thing about realizing and understanding the continuity of life, I don't even go so far as some people say NDE and life after death, life after life. I like to say the continuity of life. I like the Moody
Raymond Moody.
suggested it when he called it life after life better than life after death, because it's continuity of life. You have to go through a process to consciously accept the loss is real. You can't do anything about it. That void is there. Now, realizing that spirit is there, they're in a different realm, and you can connect. That will this program we go through, and in what we do in our religion gives you that, and that itself provides a certain amount of comfort because you say, okay, they're fine. They just have moved to a different state. Okay, when I say state, I'm not talking about in the United States. I'm talking about a different state of being. So this all goes hand in hand with what's happened in my life, with all the losses I've suffered, which has been my entire family and my closest friends and associates. So I've literally, outside of Catherine, pretty much found myself totally isolated in life. And any connection that I have, I used to jokingly say if I wanted to go to a family reunion and I have to die to get there, which is not really a joke, it's a fact. It's a reality in my life. And so the big catalyst that brought me to this state to accept who I was spiritually and to accept this continuity of life again occurred with this, what I call the miracle ring. It is a very fascinating story. It's just remarkable. It's very much a wake up call for me. So anyway, bottom line is that all this ties in together. It's a joyful thing. It's a happy thing. There's no condemnation. There's no judgment. We're not into creeds or any of those type of things. You're not a sinner. Nobody had to die for you. You don't have to ritualistically drink the blood and eat the flesh. You're a human being, and you're a divine human being, just like everyone else. And we do grow and we strive. And as I brought out earlier in this show, motivation. We seek to keep our motivation and why we do what we do. And that is all I've got to say for tonight. Catherine? Your mic is muted.
I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful evening.
And join us again. We shall return. Good night and see you soon.